breaking down the teams you're passionate about. This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, let's get it, folks. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Hope you're all having a tremendous day. Lloyd's off doing Lloyd stuff. We'll have him back here in a moment. Jake Hatch, who's already been on the air been on the board for 10 hours already today. Still here.
Only 5.
Sorry about that, man.
It's all good.
So we got a lot to get to. We'll have a Masters update coming up a little bit later on. Sly Sylvester will come by and join us from 1 to 3. We'll also talk a little Mammoth coming up at 2:05 with our man Cole Bagley. But I want to get your thoughts. First off, Jake, I don't get a chance to chat with you on the air very much. On No Tiger, a bunch of this generation's golfers right now that don't necessarily ring the bell for me, but I don't know where you're at. Where is the Masters at in your weekend viewing? Because you got a lot on your plate. You watch a lot of stuff. You're probably more dialed in on everything that's going on than anybody else on this station. Certainly more than the two guys you work with in the morning.
Oh, fair enough. They'll probably be sending a text very shortly.
I know. I say that because they're listening. I love those guys.
I actually am a big Masters fan. It's my favorite of the majors, honestly. It's just it's the unofficial kickoff to spring in my mind. I'm also a big golfer. You know this.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll be watching. Yes, some of the star power has been taken out of it, but what Scotty Scheffler's doing right now, I think we're watching some history with what he has done to the PGA Tour the last couple of years, and he's there. So I'll be watching, but I know that golf is kind of a niche thing.
So my question is, for you as a guy that watches golf probably more than the average person,
Sure.
who is your must-see TV? So I'm putting Scotty's on there, right? So if he's got a big round going, it doesn't matter what tournament, you open up on Twitter on a Sunday afternoon like, hey, Scotty's tearing up this course. You're probably going to turn it on and watch it.
Absolutely.
Is there anybody else out there that moves that meter for you?
Right now, man, it's a very, very good question. I would say that Rory still has that pull, Rory McIlroy,
yeah.
but Rory doesn't do it as often anymore because he doesn't play as much as Scotty does. That's one thing I'll give Scotty is he plays fairly often. Now, I do know he took some time off after the recent birth of his son, leading up to it, and obviously they say his kid's now 2 weeks old, and he's there in Augusta. So that's one thing. So I think Rory's one of those guys. The other one that I enjoy watching, but it's been a minute since he's done it, is Justin Rose.
Oh, okay.
And the thing about Rose is he is doing this as an elder statesman right now on the tour. He's in his 40s when Scotty and these, you call them young bucks, that's what they are, this younger contingent of golfers, he's still competing with the best. And I just enjoy the way that Justin Rose plays the game. He's one of those, I guess, gentlemanly type golfers. And the fact that he's doing this in his 40s against a bunch of guys who are nearly half of his age, pretty impressive.
Justin Rose, by the way, 2 under through 3.
Yeah, the guy can still play. It's absolutely incredible.
How about Freddie Couples, 2 under through 6?
Freddie, man.
Freddie always has a good first round, it seems like.
He's got a sweet swing, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon.
And then the old age kind of kicks in there. I was talking to Brian Taylor about this because he caddied around for Billy Casper, and I asked him, how hard is that course to walk? He says it's a nightmare to walk.
That's the thing is all of Tiger's injuries have made – everyone wants to see him at Augusta because he's made some of those just incredible shots that are iconic, they'll forever live on in golf history. But Tiger himself says if there is a course that batters you – and I know that they're talking about walking, but as I understand it, the undulation and just the up-down nature of what Augusta is designed for, it takes a toll on your body, unlike a lot of courses out there on the PGA
I mean,
Tour.
have you, and by in no way, shape, or form, and by the way, I do love my friends over at Bountiful Ridge, but in no way am I comparing Bountiful Ridge to Augusta, but I will never walk Bountiful Ridge.
No, I wouldn't walk Bountiful Ridge. I live out in Saratoga where Talons Cove is at. And
I wouldn't touch that one.
Talons it's pretty rough on you. Sleepy Ridge in Orem is my home course. Sleepy's more of the course that you walk. It's kind of flat. It's on a bunch of marshland or what used to be marshland. That's more the course you walk. What my dad and my grandfather have both been to Augusta. They have walked the course. They've been out on it, and they say, it's tough.
At the end of the day, you're ready to go back to the hotel.
You're ready to go take a nap.
All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We'll get a Masters update, get you your leaderboard coming up here with BT in just about 18 minutes from right now. Live on the scene in Augusta Right now, though, let's kick it off with your starting lineup.
It's time to kick off the show with the biggest headlines of the day. This is your starting lineup on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, since I'm snagging Jake for another segment here, and knowing Lloyd will probably be for another hour and a half, there is a lot going on right now in terms of the transfer portal, and I think it's really funny when teams across the state of Utah start losing players that they really liked, and in my association as the play-by-play guy at Utah State, this is what we call April. All right. This
is April.
This is April for us. All right. So for that meme of the guy in the noose that looks over at the other guy and goes, "Hey, is this your first time?
First time here?"
Like Aggie fans are like, "Yeah, okay. This is what happens. You got really good players, and sometimes they stay, but more often than not they leave." Now Utah State did a great job of holding into Mason Falslev and holding on to Carson Templin, but they've got a bunch of rookies. And Elijah Perriman and Adlon Elamine and Uwize. These are guys that would have been great in a Utah State uniform next year that probably won't be back. So when you see the depletion going on at BYU, and I think that there is a certain element that people need to step back and realize everybody who enters the transfer portal, it's not always their decision.
No,
right?
no.
There's players that will leave, and the coach is like, man, I wish he'd stay. And then there's other players that go into the transfer portal and say, hey, after a lot of time on with prayer and family conversations, I've decided to enter the transfer portal. Guess what? That's bull. What it was after a conversation with the coach and him telling me that I will never see the court, and if I ever want to play, it will need to be leaving and going somewhere else, and that he'll help me find another place to go to, but I need to get off the campus and open up another scholarship for him. I just want somebody to be honest and say that, because that happens a lot, especially in football, but also very much in basketball as well. So without getting into names, Jake, is it with the guys from BYU going into the portal, is it 50-50 in that regard? Guys that you would have liked to stay versus guys that are encouraged to leave?
Of the guys who've gone in now, we just found out in the last 2-ish hours that Tyler Maruss and KJ Perry, who actually never saw the court for BYU, they both announced that they're going into the portal. At least it's been reported they're going into the portal. Either way, I think right now, based on the guys that BYU's lost, obviously Robert Wright, Kennard Davis, those are guys that I think Kevin Young's probably thinking, okay, yeah, I'd like to have those guys back. But they're obviously, hey, we got a chance market share-wise to go out and see what we can find. I do think it's about 50-50. I think there's some other guys that there was we'll call it a mutual decision to part ways.
A mutual agreement, and I think that's going on at the University of Utah, too.
And I don't know if you saw this yesterday. Jeff Goodman from Phil the 68 does a really good job covering college basketball. Did you see his tweet yesterday evening?
About how many, like 49%?
As of 5:15 yesterday evening, 49% of all scholarship players who have eligibility remaining were in the portal. That's yesterday evening. We're now coming up on 24 hours since then.
It's gone up.
We got to be north of 50% now.
Yeah.
So anybody who thinks that your university, your basketball program that you support, Scotty, is special and one of a kind, you're not.
You're not.
And that's nothing against BYU. It's nothing against University of Utah. Nothing against Utah State, Weber, anybody else in the state or anywhere else in the nation. This is what the new era of college basketball is. It's literally just kind of tossing the chips up and seeing where they fall at the end of the day.
It really is. And the sad part is there's going to be a lot of these guys that leave. And look, there's some guys that are going to be encouraged to leave. And there'll be opportunities for them, because one thing in all the coaches that I've worked with, and granted it's a smaller sample size, but I've talked to a lot of other coaches that we have the Deion Sanders image in our minds where he was just cutting everybody and just saying, get out of my office. For the most part, coaches understand that they made a mistake in recruiting and that they offered a scholarship to somebody who can't make the team. So they actually will go out of their way with all their connections to try to find a place for them to go. Whether it's Big Sky, whether it's, Missouri Valley, whatever the case is, they'll do whatever they can to find places for these guys to land.
And these coaches, they know kind of the level. Once they see these guys play, they have an idea of, okay, you'd fit good here.
Yes.
And then they can call whoever they need to call. You mentioned maybe the Big Sky or somebody in the Mountain West. And speaking from the BYU perspective, if they're at the Power 5 level in basketball and saying, hey, you may fit better at the Mountain West / Pac-12 level, they can make a phone call there. You mentioned Missouri Valley, Big Sky, the kind of that next tier down. They can make those calls to help you find the right spot for you to play because coaches, and you know this as well as anybody, Sky, with all the coaches that have been through Logan, it's a tight fraternity, and they don't want to find themselves on the outside of that fraternity in terms of being, hey, you don't want to go play for that guy. They always want to maintain those relationships because everybody's wheeling and dealing. So if you can find a way to have somebody scratch your back while you scratch theirs, it works out.
And also, too, in this world of free agency, you don't want to tick off the agents too much.
Oh, no. Yeah, especially in this day and age.
By the way, I got a great story for you off the air about that.
Great. Here we go.
So it's a really fascinating world. So I would say if you're still trying to wrap your brain around the fact that your team is, we're losing everybody. Okay, you're losing some that you wanted to keep, and you're also losing some that you wanted to lose. The high turnover makes it really hard. I got, I sent out a couple tweets about this yesterday that, I don't like the unlimited transfers. Don't like it at all.
I'm with you. I think it should be one time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get one freebie, and then after that, you can transfer, but you're going to have to sit out a year. There's situations there.
I will add a caveat to that. If your coach leaves, they retire, that gives you the exception. But yeah, you're granted one free transfer. You go again, you sit a year.
And by the way, I would even say coach leave or coach fired.
Yeah, if your coach is fired, you shouldn't be held to stick around a university that you committed to play for a certain individual.
Because I think that would make some athletic directors out there think twice before pulling the plug on a guy way, way too early.
Yes, very, very true.
So with all of that being said, I look at what's going on right now. It's very transactional. It's very, what have you done for me lately? It's very much about how can I make the most amount of money in a shortest amount of time because my earning potential is so limited. And I love the fact that you got guys that are former players that are on Twitter saying, hey, I understand. Look, I hate that the guy's leaving too, but if I were in the same situation, I'd do the same thing. You all would. We all would. Loyalty is dead.
I was going to say.
Loyalty is dead. And I'm not even sure how much loyalty really even existed in sports because you as a fan, look, if that player isn't performing well, guess what? You're calling for him to get off the court.
Correct.
You're calling for him to get his scholarship cut. You want him out.
You're booing him in the stands. Like that. Here's the deal. Transactional is the perfect term for all of this, Scotty. Understand that these young men, young women, whatever sport you happen to be rooting for, they're in it, obviously, in many cases, to get an education, but especially in the level of college basketball and college football, to collect a pretty darn healthy paycheck. Some guys, 6 figures. If you're the best of the best, 7 figures, and it's life-changing money. And if you were to tell me that you were going to pass on that opportunity to stay loyal to whatever X university, I'm going to laugh in your face.
Yeah.
Because all of us, there's a number out there that we're like, yeah, when do you want me to start?
And that's the bottom line, really. Because ultimately, you get to be my age, and you're starting to think of, okay, well, and by the way, Ethan Miller's going to join us coming up here in a second from Teton Wealth. Look, I'm in my late 40s. So, look, I'm looking 15, 16 years from now and being like, you know what, I want to be just driving across the country every summer doing barbecue competitions. That's all I want to do. Jake's got about 10, 15 more years in the business, but you got to look down the line and saying, look, I got braces to pay for. I got kids to handle. I got college to pay for. I got all this stuff coming up down the pipeline. Like your earning potential is so very limited in life, period, let alone when you're an athlete that has no real opportunities to play in the NBA and maybe a little bit in European ball. But even then, the likelihood of being able to make really good, sizable money there is pretty limited. And so you want to milk this thing for all it's worth, and you should. And so I have no issues with players that are going and finding a way to get money. And I have no look, if you look at guys that say, I'm going to go in the transfer portal, but I'm still leaving up the option of returning to that school. If all that is a power play to try to leverage more money from a university you're at, go for it. You don't have those opportunities often.
Never let good leverage go to waste.
Yes.
And that in this circumstance, Scotty, a lot of these young men, I think chiefly right now about a guy like Robert Wright III, and just because he's a local example, he's an all Big 12 guy. Guess what? He, recorded reports, got paid a very healthy amount of money to leave, spurn Baylor. He'd signed paperwork with the Baylor Bears, spurns them, comes to BYU, and if he has a chance to even up that amount of money even more, as an undersized point guard, Scotty, Why wouldn't he do that?
He's not playing in the league.
No, 5'11", 6 foot, whatever he is. That era of him playing in the NBA is 15 years in the past, and he could maybe go play over in Europe and make some money there. But right now, if he can make what was reportedly in the $3 to $4 million range, because that's kind of what the going rate is for a guy of his caliber, I can't tell any young man, him or otherwise, to say, pass on that.
Yeah. Same with coaches when they leave, because, again, you as a fan, I know that you feel like you're taking the brunt on this. And I saw people on Twitter that I was going back and forth with that were saying, this has really killed my love of college athletics. And you know what? I get it. Like, I'm never going to tell you how to fan. I'm never going to tell you what to like and what to not like and what to be ticked off about, because that's you as a fan. You get to make that call. And I understand why this would turn off a lot of people, because these players that for so many years you thought were just playing for the love of the game, in reality now are just turning into mercenaries and picking up as much money as they possibly can. All I would tell you before you say, I'm done, I'm out, these guys show no loyalty, I would just tell you, what would you do in their situation?
Well, and we just watched a team, if you want to use the term mercenaries, Scotty, we watched a team of mercenaries just won the national title in Michigan.
Yep.
And guess what? Michigan fans, do you think they're going to complain about that one iota? No. And I think every other fan base would say the exact same thing, like, hey, we won a national title. We're good.
That's all what it comes down to. Look, Utah State last year, let's keep it local, all right? Mason Falslev's been there the whole time. Carson Templin's been there the whole time. All right, that's great. Colby King, 1-year guy. MJ Collins, 1-year guy. Elijah Perriman may end up being a 1-year guy. Adlon Elamine, a 1-year guy. I mean, you go down the list, there's a lot of 1-year guys that came in. Gary Clark, 1-year guy.
Yeah.
These are guys that came in. Now, are you upset the fact that you had a bunch of mercenaries come in and you won a Mountain West Conference regular season and a Mountain West Conference title and a first round in the NCAA tournament? Like,
absolutely
yeah, but they weren't homegrown guys. And but no, of course not. It was great. Look, one of my favorite players I've ever covered. And look, Sam Merrill, awesome. He's number one. I just being around Sam and getting to know him over those years was incredible. You know who number two is Darius Brown.
And he was around for just
1 year.
Yeah.
Just 1 year. And was single-handedly one of the most clutch players I've ever been around, cared about the game more than anybody else, busted his butt, 1-year rental. But you know what? Doesn't change the fact that he busted his butt for your school and won your team a lot of games. All right, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
This is Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We'll get you to Augusta here in just a moment and catch up with the man himself, Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio. You hear it every Saturday morning right here on the Zone. It is the opening day, and I think, Jake Hatch hit it right on the head. This is your vibe of spring. Like, this is where you start to feel like, okay, all right, we're getting there. We're on our way. And you always kind of get that with when the NFL playoffs start to kick in, when you get past January and you're watching a game on CBS and they all of a sudden start showing promos, or ESPN, they start showing the promos for the Masters, and you're like, oh, that's right. That's coming up. I just got a few months left. So they start teasing it January, February, and then you realize, boom, there's two big things that show spring is here. Number one, baseball season starts. Number two, it's the Masters. And let's get you out to Augusta right now with Brian Taylor.
This 2026 Masters Update live from Augusta is brought to you by Copper Rock, where the pros play on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
BT live in Augusta right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Sounds like it's a Augusta Chamber of Commerce day out there today, correct?
Oh man, it's so nice. It was frosty this morning. We went out and watched the honorary starters at 7:25 in the first light out there, and it was stocking hats and all the layers we could muster, and just got back in from being out, and short sleeves. He could have shorts on for sure. It's about 71 degrees, just nothing but bright sunshine. Really, really nice out there.
So we were going to make sure to get a hold of you while you were on the course with your cell phone and see how that would go for you, because apparently Augusta is not too fond of that.
I can assure you that I was not carrying my cell phone while I was out there. I would not mess around with that. Mark Calcavecchia, you probably saw that story. He found out the hard way on that one. So, no thanks. I'd like to be here another year, and so we'll just make these conversations here in the press box.
I mean, let's be honest. This isn't like some new rule, is it? I mean, what's Mark thinking? This is not like something that just came down and he's been around the block a few times here.
Yeah, and then I guess maybe in fairness to Mark, I mean, the players do have a little different set of rules than the patrons and the media and that kind of thing, and so he may have been thinking like a player, and but he wasn't on the grounds as a player, so
Gotcha.
Unfortunately that didn't work out. Yeah.
All right, so obviously first round underway. How's the course playing right now? Because you got you got a 6 under, a 5 or a 3, or excuse me, now 5 under, and a couple guys at 3 under, including Jason Day and Shane Lowry. How's the course playing?
Yeah, I just talked to Matt McCarty, the inaugural winner of the Black Desert Championship, now Bank of Utah Championship, and he said that it's firming up, but it's still not super firm. I think the wind is the toughest thing out there. It's we just saw Cam Young out there, pulled the trigger with no wind in his face, and literally as the ball left his club, it gusted 15 in his own words, and came up short. So that's part of the challenge around here, is guessing the wind correctly, and the way the golf course goes down and in around these valleys with all the tall pines. It certainly is a little bit of a tunnel effect sometimes with the way that wind can go. So. The golf course is actually playing perfect. I think it's ideal scoring conditions. I expect it to continue to firm up with the low humidity and the bright sun and no precipitation forecasted. So great score by Sam Burns with that 67 to get the clubhouse lead. And, McIlroy, the defending champ, is right there at the top of the leaderboard. He's made 2 straight birdies there on 13 and 14 to get to 4 under par. So, it's pretty exciting stuff. And, Scotty Scheffler, a 2-time winner, went eagle birdie on 2 and 3. So fireworks flying early here in round 1 at the Masters.
We all have bad days at the office. Aldrich Potgieter. Nobody knows who he is, and nobody will know who he is after today. But my goodness, I saw some of those scores rolling in. I'm like, okay, that looks like me on the Burley Muni right now. I mean, that was some rough go of it with some of those early scores.
Yeah, Potgieter's actually a really good player. Got a lot of potential. A lot of guys really like his game, and if I'm not mistaken, he's already picked up I thought he's already got a win under his belt. But this was his first year. It looks like he played as an amateur, but this is his first year as a professional. And that was from South Africa. Really good young player, but obviously it wasn't his day today.
See, by the way, this is the kind of guy you have in Brian Taylor, because I can throw out the guy that had the worst score in the Masters, and he can still rattle off his bio like they're best friends since high school. That's impressive work.
Yeah, I do have some resources available to me, but I'm kind of disappointed in myself. But I'm trying to remember. I think Potgieter lost in a playoff. It was last year in Puerto Rico, and it was a great playoff. And he ended up losing. I forget now who won that one, but yeah, good fun player. I like he's got a ton of talent, so I'm hoping he'll bounce back from this.
So you look at Scotty Scheffler and you see 3 under, and then you also see 3 under through 3, and it's like, Scotty may be pulling a Scotty right now.
Yeah, look, we talked about Scotty coming in this week and probably flying under the radar as much as the number 1 player in the world can. Having been off for the last couple of weeks with the birth of his latest son, and then not having his Scotty-like starts. He blitzed the field at American Express, got a huge win wire to wire to start the year, and then struggled just a little bit. And by struggling, I'm talking about a 3rd, a 4th, a 12th, and a couple more top 25s. That's Scotty Scheffler, kind of struggling out there. And, so maybe maybe after a couple of weeks off. He's had a little reset out there, and he's still the number one player in the world. He's still second in scoring average on the PGA Tour. He still leads the tour in birdie average and second in putting average. Like, he's obviously the guy to beat out there, but there was just so many other storylines that Scotty didn't grab the headlines. He's playing in his 7th Masters, and he already has 2 wins. He won in 22, won in 24. Here we are in 26. If you like trends, It would definitely be on trend for him to pick up another even year win this year. And the thing that's historic, like we watched Rory join the greats of the career Grand Slam group by winning last year here at Augusta. Consider this group: Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger Woods all won their 3rd green jacket in their 8th start. Scotty's playing his 7th. And he has the opportunity to one-up that group. So pretty cool stuff Scotty's doing right now.
So you look at Rory, and last year he gets, as you mentioned, that career Grand Slam with the Masters. And then I think there was, listening to some of his interviews and stuff throughout the rest of the season, it was like, I think he was trying to come to grips like, okay, I accomplished this, then what else do I have? And he kind of dropped off a little bit because I don't know if, you win something like that, and that was such a monumental moment. It was tough keeping that motivation. Do you feel like being back at Augusta maybe reignites him to a certain extent? Because he's playing well right out of the gate.
Yeah, I think that's a really good observation. And you remember when we were having this conversation the Monday after last year when he won, I'm pretty sure I said something along the lines of the lid is off, and it would not surprise me if Rory went on to clip off 3 or 4 more majors, in relatively quick fashion. And it just felt like it had been, 14 since 2014 that he'd won a major, and he was still chasing the career Grand Slam, and all of the challenges at Augusta, the near misses and struggles, and for him the way he let out the scream and the relief and the sobbing and the heave, all of the emotion that went into that, you just thought, man, he's got that off his back now. He's got all this talent. He can just sit back, relax. Nothing matters anymore. He might just go on a tear. And it didn't happen. In fact, it was the opposite. What we didn't take into account was the toll that all that emotion really took out of him, to the point where he had nothing left in the tank to really compete at all last year. When you consider that, and that wasn't a scenario that I sort of had in my mind. Yeah. When coming off that win, I thought he was just going to be on a high and ride it. But then listening to how comfortable he was in his press conference this week about how, he said, I wouldn't care if the Masters never started, and to come here and just all he had to worry about was planning a really nice menu and then coming out here and just going out there and compete while everybody else grinds for their green jacket, knowing he's already accomplished the thing he set out to do as a kid and win all 4 majors. Like, that's a great place to be. And he seemed so relaxed for the first time in, 15 years here at Augusta. And I suspect that maybe my comments were a little premature. Maybe it was a year early. Perhaps this is the year that Rory goes on that tear. We'll see, right? I mean, it's early, but when you start seeing this kind of play out of Rory as the defending champ. Now, talk about elite groups. Again, 3 players, Jack, Tiger, and Nick Faldo, that have won back-to-back Masters tournaments. And so that would be another elite club that Rory could join if he were to defend this week.
It's always fun. It always feels like that first round, you're getting good scores out of Fred Couples. That swing just always keeps him in play early, doesn't it?
Oh, man. I mean, this is a guy that's, made the cut in 5 decades. And he's the oldest to make the cut back in 23. He could break his own record this week. It's a great start. I mean, everybody loves Fred Couples around here. He's sort of king of cool, if you will, and just smooth as butter swing. Everybody, at some point in time, if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you tried to emulate the swing of Fred Couples. There's not, I don't think, probably 2% of us that even have the shoulder flexibility to make a good effort at it. But I mean, it's great, right? I mean, Fred loves the Masters. He loves being out here, and I hope he rolls, man. Why not? We saw Jose Maria Olazabal get off to an early start. I think I don't know, I forget the stat, but he turned in 2 under par, and he's at his age at 60. I think he just became the second at 60 or older to shoot under par in the front 9 of the Masters. So, I mean, you never know. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about Augusta is, their continual invitation to the past champions, and they get to come out here and do what they do and showcase their talents, even if they're a bit past their prime.
One thing I always love chatting with you about, especially Thursdays and Fridays, is we always play a game of will they or won't they be around come the weekend. So I will apply that to Sam Burns. Will he or won't he be around contention on Saturday?
Boy, I tell you, he is such a good putter. And this is a golf course where he's obviously striking it well. I didn't get to watch his round, but to shoot 67 in the first round, he will definitely be in contention on Saturday. Sunday, that's hard to say, but Saturday, yeah, I'm going to say he's there.
All right. Hey, BT, appreciate it as always, man. Enjoy it, and look forward to catching up again here later.
The pleasure's all mine. Good to be with you, Scotty.
Yeah, he's the best. Brian Taylor, Real Golf Radio, right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, and by the way, those conversations with our guys with Real Golf Radio, and, honestly, can't thank them enough for being there, and I know they're putting in the hard work, making sure that they're there and sacrificing for all of us to be at Augusta.
Oh, the sacrifice.
I know. But also big thanks to Real Golf Radio and Mountain America Credit Union, Mountain Supply, Black Desert Resort, Hoops Vision, and Uinta Golf. What you may have missed coming up next, this is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're locked on to Scotty G and Friends on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time for another edition of What You May Have Missed. All brought to you by Paris RV. The Toy Hauler Month at Paris RV continues on with over 200 new and used toy haulers in stock across 20 brands. They're sure to have what you want. See them at any of their 4 locations or just go directly to parisrv.com. So I don't know what's worse, if you are intentionally tanking or if you're just a bad coach. Well, the NBA has decided that the Sacramento Kings are just led by a bad coach. So the other night, Sacramento, trying to pull off the upset victory over the Golden State Warriors, they foul. But the problem is they did not have a foul to give. That allows Golden State to go to the free throw line, sink some free throws, win that game. So everybody immediately says, all right, well, you see where the Kings are with the Jazz in the rankings. They're tanking. That's them trying to fix a game. Well, the NBA has done their investigation and just released a statement. Said the NBA has completed an investigation of the Sacramento Kings and head coach Doug Christie's decision to foul intentionally late in the team's game against the Golden State Warriors on April 7th. The league's investigation determined that Christie mistakenly believed that the Warriors were not in the penalty and therefore instructed his team to foul in an attempt to stop the clock and utilize one of the team's remaining timeouts. The investigation found that Christie made no intentional effort to give the Warriors a shooting foul or cause the Kings to lose the game. Draymond Green's got some thoughts on this from the Golden State Warriors.
I saw a team tonight foul Seth Curry with 3 minutes to go in the game for no reason. In the penalty. I get fined when I do wrong. Just fine the hell out of people. We love taking money from players. Keep fining the teams. I've seen 2 fines. And we all know everybody tanking. But you've seen 2 fines. If it was players, we snatched that money in a heartbeat. Why isn't it the same?
All right. I know that we all like to get after Draymond Green, and he's an easy target. And trust me, I don't really care for the guy much either. He's not wrong. I mean, let's be honest. He's not wrong. Now, the Jazz have been fined $500,000. The Indiana Pacers have been fined $100,000. But for some reason, you look at what's going on here, and it's like, we're cool. Everything's fine here. I don't know why Doug Christie, and if I'm Doug Christie, I might be a little upset because if I actually was tanking and now people are just saying, no, you're just a crappy coach and you just don't know what's going on. You don't know time, score, and fouls. And whether it's you or your staff, you did a garbage job. And he's like, no, I was trying to tank. The owner was yelling at me. He's like, lose this game. If I'm Doug Christie, I don't take this line down. They're going after you. They're calling you a moron. What would you rather be known for? Tanking or just being bad at your job? I'd take tanking any day of the week.
Absolutely. Not going to get another job if I'm just bad at it.
Yeesh. So, yes, Doug Christie apparently is just bad at his job, and the Kings were not tanking. Not buying it. I mean, I do buy that Doug Christie's bad at his job.
Not for that reason, though.
But not for that reason. Yeah. All right. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.